Thank you so much for staying with us. We do apologize. We are 4 minutes beyond the time that we said we were going to start. We're excited to have this presentation for you. It's one of many, what we're dubbing our safety webinar. And we know what the current environment is in Barbados, and particularly how our senior members are being affected. So we have partnered with Guardsman to for this presentation, and it's called How to Stay Safe, Protect Yourself and Your Family Before, During, and After a Robbery. And we'll be relying on the expert advice on preventative actions and receive responses that can help to minimize harm and loss. I just want to tell you a little bit about Guardsman before we get started. Guardsman Barbados is a trusted provider of security and cash management solutions. They combine innovative technology and expert services to protect businesses, assets, and individuals. Their offerings include electronic security systems and services, secure cash in transit, fleet management and GPS tracking, mobile patrols, security consultations, security guards, security surveys and location audits, and robbery prevention awareness and response. With Guardsmen Barbados, your security is always their priority. I'd like to say a special good evening, of course, yes, to our BART members and those who are visiting us and are not BART members. It's time, if you're 40 years and older, to become part of the BART family, and we could tell you a little bit about that later. At this time, I do want to invite our president, Marilyn Rice Bowen, to just give us a few welcome remarks.
Good evening, everyone. Members of the Board of BARP, management and staff of BARP, management and staff of our partner Guardsman, BARP members and friends of BARP, and soon to be members of BARP. Good evening to all. This evening, I address you under the umbrella of hands off our seniors. You will recognize over the last few weeks, our seniors have been targeted for all aspects of crime, something that we found very disturbing. And we thought that it's part of our remit to not only offer words of hope, but to offer some practical solutions, because we recognize this is definitely needed. So today, under the background of hands off our seniors, we want to move beyond our anger. We want to arm ourselves with knowledge, preparation, and practical tools to ensure our safety and security. Now, today's sessions are designed to empower each of you, and I must say myself as well, because I am a senior, and strategies needed to protect ourselves, our homes, and our loved ones. We recognize that knowledge is power, and preparation is protection. I want to repeat that because that seems to be not only a catchy phrase, but a powerful message is being relayed here. Knowledge is power, and preparation is protection. By the end of these sessions, we expect you will be better equipped to navigate our daily lives with confidence, while maintaining the vigilance necessary to keep ourselves and our neighbors safe. Remember, we are not just protecting ourselves, but we are protecting the dignity and security that every senior citizen deserves. Together, we will ensure that our golden years remain golden, not shadowed by fear. And I want to add as I end that we're not preparing you this evening to defend. We are preparing you to protect. And I'm certain that throughout this presentation this evening, you will learn tools of protection, but we are not preparing you to how to fight back, because in the whole scheme of things, we want you to be vigilant, but anytime that you are indeed challenged, remember that your life cannot be replaced. So, part of BARP's remit is to ensure that our seniors and our members period, can lead lives of independence and dignity. So I want to place on record here our appreciation to Guardsman, one of our partners, and I too look forward to some tips that I can walk away with as we are seeking to protect our seniors as they navigate their daily lives throughout this country. So again, a welcome to all and a pleasant evening.
Thank you so much, Madam President. I now invite Mr. Hurtado Mitchell, who's the General Manager of Operations at Guardsman, to just say a few words.
Hello, greetings and good day, everybody. Can you hear me? I
Yes,
hope
we
you
can
Yes,
hear
can.
you,
yes.
and we
Awesome
can see
sauce
you
with good
too.
gravy on top. Well, I'd like to greet everybody by saying blessings, love, and righteousness prevails every time and all the time over you and your family. Protocol having been established, right? I want to say thank you for having me here. Thank you for having Guardsman. We are very proud to be partners with BARP. We are very proud to associate with BARP. And we are taking this initiative and partnership very seriously because what we have realized is that um, our values in society, is slowly deteriorating. And, it takes, persons like yourselves, this initiative by Barb to step in and to assist in helping to stop this entire corrosion. And as your partner and as your, let me call it, security partners, right? We just want to leave a few tips, a few words of advice. You learn things about actions during a robbery, right? So for example, what I'll say to us is that during a robbery, it is very important to ensure that we take no action to jeopardize our safety, any at all, right? The number one goal of a robber is to get what they're looking for as fast as possible. What we try to advise against is no sudden movements. And as Marilyn just said, we're not here to teach you or to tell you how to defend or defend yourselves. Because it usually ends up a little bit, going south, and we do not want that, right? So we're here to give you tips on what to do, actions during a robbery and actions after a robbery. The most important thing is to ensure that during the robbery, you are being very vigilant and you are being very observant so that after the robbery, you can assist with the investigative process. Again, we want to say thank you so much for having us. I am thrilled to be here, and I'm very sure that my team is eager to begin their presentation on what to do. This is one of our steps that we have taken to ensure that we help to basically decrease the crime and the violence that has been creeping into Barbados. So again, everybody, thank you so much. Do have a wonderful rest of your evening as you enjoy this presentation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mitchell. That was Hurtado Mitchell. He's the General Manager of Operations at Guardsman. And I also say good evening to Mr. Ian Fields, who is the Training, Evaluation, and Safety Officer, and Mr. Angus Cox, who's the Senior Security Supervisor, and they're going to be doing the presentation this afternoon. So good afternoon, gentlemen, and I hand over to you.
Good afternoon.
Hi, we can see you. It's good to see you.
Hey, good afternoon. Can you hear us though?
Yes, we can hear you.
Excellent.
I know Mr. Mitchell, so let me see who's Mr. Fields. Mr. Ian Fields, just raise your hand. Mr.
That's me.
Fields and
Yeah.
Mr. Angus Cox, of course, will be in the black polo. Thanks so
by
much
by,
for taking
elim
the time to
by
come to
process of
chat with us.
elimination.
I didn't hear you, sorry?
I said by the process of elimination.
By the process of elimination, that is correct.
All right. Good afternoon. With protocol being established, yeah, if we can just jump straight into the presentation. Unfortunately, I'm having a bit of a technical, I should say, challenge at this end. So Tamita's got the presentation, and once you can get it up and shared, we will crack on and do that. Okay, so apologies for that. The laptop is not functioning properly. Okay.
That's fine. We are eager to hear what you have to say. I think Tammy
Okay.
was able to start it, but we are very eager to hear what you two guys have to say.
Okay. Right. So good afternoon again. With the current climate as it is, yeah, what we've done is we've done a bit of research, yeah, and we've come up with some stuff that I think that you might find interesting for the fellow board members. I'm sure that we are, as you said, we're all keen to find out what's going on. Okay. So Tamita, if you can go to the next slide, please. All right, thank you. So the Barbados statistics so far for January, yeah, it's really January to May here. When I first done the research, it only went to May, but I've got an update for June. And as you can see, at the end of May, yeah, there were a couple of, well, quite a few homicides, yeah. And between January to May the 31st, there were actually 91, okay. As we go on, you'll see that sorry, 19, not 91. Right, as we go on, you'll see that there've been some additional ones, yeah, some 9 more, which almost makes it to a good 50. All right, so what we'll be looking at is technically what comprises the, I would say, the robbery aspect, and what we're seeing as well is that there's an upturn in weapons being used, especially firearms, and that is what we'll be looking at. Right now, there seems to be more of a threat from the firearm and people and young people using them to, how to say, perpetrate crimes. Okay, so as you can see in Barbados, the gun-related crimes have increased with 221 firearm-related crimes recorded in 2025 so far. The gun-related murders, right, soared by 161%, and that is the concerning bit. Yeah, with 34 firearm deaths. Yeah, firearms are the most prevalent weapon in the violent crimes now. And these statistics have actually been from gleaned from the internet itself. Yeah, and I will provide the sources if you so wish to look at the sources for yourself. Yeah. Tamita, next slide, please. All right. Now this slide actually shows you the breakdown by parish. Yeah. I thought that this would be interesting for you to see that you can actually have some kind of spatial awareness around you as to what is happening in your area. Okay, so as you can see, it's only the 11 parishes, and there's only 2, 4, 5 that haven't recorded a crime or gun-related crime there. Okay, now what I would like to point out to you, right, is it says here that for June, another 9 murders were reported, bringing the total up to 30. Okay, so by year end, if the trajectory is continued, we'll have at least 60 by the end of the year. Hopefully we don't get that far.
And we want you to understand that what you're seeing might not be a true picture because these are reported incidents. There are many incidents which go unreported, so the zeros might have some as well. So it might not be a true picture. This is our reported incidents.
Okay, we understand that so far. Yeah. Okay. Now, one of the things I'd like to point out to you as well is when you look at St. Michael seems to have a high proportion of them. Yeah, which would be correct. But the thing you have to consider is that the majority of the population is in the southern part, St. Michael and Christchurch. Yeah. So therefore, per capita, yeah, they would have more incidents. But if it were, how should I say, if each parish had the same number, yeah, it may well be a different story. Yeah. So for example, St. Michael has got, I think, 9 in total. Yeah, and that will be concerning. That is concerning. Okay, next slide, please, Tamita. Right, now I know this is a part that most people would be interested in. It's a hotspot. again, the research has gleaned this, right? It's Black Rock is one of the hotspots in St. Michael, the Pine and Sergeant's Village. They were all identified as hotspots. Go on.
Eden Lodge as well.
And Eden Lodge, but that's not on the list. Yeah. And as you can see, the community of Gall Hill and Christchurch have also raised a red flag in the totals. That also means, for example, they may not have been a fatality, but they may have well been gun crime that's been reported. And that in this case is what is concerning. And that's what the community, that's what they're meaning. Yeah. And a total for 207 firearms related crimes were reported across the island, including 160 major crimes and 76 shootings. Yeah. So again, when you look at the major crimes, it may not have been, let's say, an incident recorded at the end of it, but what they're saying is like in Gall Hill, for example, the majority of those major crimes which didn't result in a death could well have occurred there, and that's why that's of a concern.
These figures also show that persons are not afraid to use the firearms. So that's something we must keep in mind as we go ahead.
Yeah, and that is going to bear, how you say, is going to be one of the things we've considered in putting this together as well for the end. Yeah, okay, so next slide, please, Tamita. Thank you. Right, so the related topics we'll be looking at is basically the robbery and as a crime. And as you can see, we'll be looking at some preventative measures that you can use. Responding to a robbery, responding after a robbery, which is most important, right? We want to get yourselves through the robberies, yeah? I mean, if you can remember that one where the gentleman had left the bank, I think it was, or the union, and he had his cash, and that young fella assaulted him on the street, yeah? That is one that we will have a look at, because it was, I would say it was an opportunistic crime, which most robberies are, but I think he may have done some things that may have led to it inadvertently, not thinking about it. Yeah, that could have led to that robbery. And then one of the things we'll be looking at as well is the home security, right? Security devices, what should we be looking at as well, some of them, right? The alertness and visibility and doors and locks. Okay, next slide, please, Tamita. Thank you. All right, so if you can look at this one, it's robbery prevention. It's a video. Yeah, so Tamita, if you can play the video, and we'll just, yeah, follow along. Oh, dear me. There's no volume. Can anyone hear that? Okay. Well, I'll just talk you through it. Basically, what they're saying is that the crime is an opportunistic crime. Okay. What we should really be considering is what is our spatial awareness and where we are at the time. The officer here is telling the young man, one, he is not being aware of his surroundings because he is actually listening to the music. Yeah, and he has got certain items, valuable items, high visibility items and high price items on display. Okay. What he's also now telling him that he should not be on the mobile phone either. He should be paying attention to his surroundings, right? Basically, all of this is making him a soft target, as it were. He is not aware of what's going on around him. He isn't aware of what's happening behind him. He's taken away his senses, i.e. his sight and his vision, right, by utilizing these items when he's out and about. What he's also saying is, for example, when you wear your bag, you should not be putting your bag across your chest, which some people have been advised to do, that you should put it on one shoulder. Hence, if someone tries to snatch the bag, they'll just take the bag, but they won't actually be controlling you as well. Here also, you should be, if you feel vulnerable, stick to well-populated areas that have lighting, and as you will have seen there, do not go through car parks or even sit by yourself in a park. That is where you could possibly well be attacked, and especially in the park, in a car park, or in the park, out in the greens, or even on dark streets, people can use the shadows or certain items so that they can actually approach you unseen and then surprise you. Okay. What he's now also telling him is that in the case of the bag, if someone comes up and tries to snatch your bag, do not resist. Do not pull it back. All right. Or do not let them take it. Your life is more important than the contents of the bag. The bag can be replaced. The contents can be replaced. However, if you go into hospital, it would take you some time. He's also saying that at the end of it, where you should be doing is taking yourself to a place of safety and then calling the police. Yeah. Do not follow, do not chase. Yeah, just let them go. Basically, comply with the wishes of the robber, and that would help you to stay. You would be a victim, but you would be in a place of safety. Okay. The most important thing is to get through this, to get through the event. Yeah.
What you have to realize is that your life is much more valuable than your property. So if you think that your property is so important and you are going to defend yourself or defend your property, you might lose your life. And then what value is the property to you? So just think about your life first.
Right.
Property can be replaced.
The thing is, what we're looking at is you should position yourself so that you're not, that you do not make yourself a target or a victim. Okay, it is easier said than done now because the statistics from the same report that we looked at actually did say that most of the robberies happen, guess what, between 12 and 8 p.m. That's 12, midday, and 8 p.m. now. Okay, and I believe that has to do with the visibility. Okay. So it's very difficult to say where you can go. Obviously, you would avoid the hot spots and you would follow as much of the precautions that we're giving you. So again, if you're going out, travel in numbers. Yeah, if you can take a family member with you when you go out shopping, then I would say do that. Okay. Stick to well-populated areas. Yeah. If you do go to a park or let's say even a car park and you're using that, make sure you park close to the exits or the entrances, which would have a visible, like a high footfall, let's say, and you'll find that most of the attendants will be at the entrances of the car parks. Yeah, so that might be a way that you can mitigate some of this, being followed, being watched, being observed, and a vulnerable moment being identified by the robber. One of the things I'll say to you as well is from some extensive research from other colleagues, right? What we've realized is they do not like being identified. Okay. One of the things I would say to you is even if you're walking through the crowd, you're in a queue, in a line, you're waiting to pay for things, make eye contact with people around you. That eye contact could just be enough to divert or delay or even deter someone from doing something. Okay. It would be unfair for me to say that it's a specific person that would be doing this. Yeah, I mean, you can't say that would be more or less like profiling, and that would be wrong. But the statistics suggest that it's it's males, and the males between 18 and 25 years old. Okay, that's what the research suggests. So again, if you find that you are in a situation where that is the case, I'm not saying act afraid, but just be aware that that is what the statistics is bearing out from the research. Yeah. Okay.
Yes. What I find is that people need to have a little patience. They leave banking institutions and they do not want to take the time to put away their cash properly. If you walk out of a bank displaying this money, you're going to get yourself in trouble because people will know for sure that you went and withdraw money. Sometimes they say, I have to tell people, just hold on, make yourself right before you leave, because you don't want to advertise it for the persons out there to see it and then take the opportunity to deprive you of your money. So you don't make yourself a victim by advertising yourself as someone having these things.
Sorry, excuse. Yeah, that was one of the things I was going to say. Right, from what we can gather here, yeah, when that gentleman drew out his money, the person that actually robbed him was in the same vicinity, sat and saw him. Okay, now the thing is, he counted the cash, so he counted the cash as well. This is the robber. He put the money in his top pocket and left. So the robber knew exactly where the money was and how much. When he left on his own, and then he walked out onto the street. and he was in an isolated, vulnerable area. By that, I mean he was the only one on that road at the time. Okay, so he actually did make himself a soft target. What we're going to do, we have a 10-point area here where we will look to show you how you can actually turn that to your, not to your advantage, but you would not make yourself a soft target. Okay, and again, as we said, if as the researchers pointed out, if you travel along with other people or in a crowd or in a group of people, it tends to deter people from or the robber from actually going through, because one, he's not only going to be seen, but there could well be people that would render assistance as well. Yeah. 2 seconds. I've got to try and get in log on. If this is not working. So to meet up, sorry, 2 seconds.
Okay, the thing is not to make yourself an easy victim. And that includes you. People might tell you that you are afraid. You look afraid, but look around. See what is going on around you. Notice anyone is coming too close to you. These are things yes, you are afraid, but it's not fear. You're afraid to get yourself a victim, so you're looking around. And people, when they see you looking around, if you realize that most of these fellows who perpetrate these crimes, they wear a hoodie. They do not want to be recognized. So when you show them that, hey, I could see you, they think twice. Because identification is one of the most important things in a case like this. So look around, see what is happening. That means, as you showed in the video, the distractions like the cell phone, you have to wait till you get a safe area to use it. I find myself on the road some mornings exercising, and I see people on the road as well doing the same. But they're using the headphones, and I go to myself like, hey, with these headphones, what can you hear going on around you? What can you hear going on around you? And that might not be a robbery situation, but it's a life or death situation, because you might not hear the vehicle which is coming towards you. So the headphones, the cell phones, these things are very destructive, and we must try to limit our use of them. Tamita, can we go again, please?
Yes, we can. Do you want me to go to the other slide?
Yes, please. Thank you.
Sure.
And I guess what you're going to see on this slide, things that I have spoken of not too long ago.
Yes.
Mr. Fields would have said it.
Right. Okay.
Mhm.
So one of the things that well, it's a crime. What we'll try to emphasize here, right, is that the thing that we're looking at is trying to stay safe at the end of it to get through the experience. One of the things I will say to you is remain calm. If you just think back at the times that you get a little bit upset or a little bit or something very emotional or traumatic is happening, right? We tend not to think too well. By that I mean a lot of thoughts are going through our heads. Yeah. And we can inadvertently cause someone to think we're doing something when we're not. We need to remain calm, and that's the first thing. Okay. And we remain calm so we do not jeopardize our own safety. So you know, you may well be going, yeah, yeah, I'll get the money. And they might think you're reaching for something else or that you're trying to alert someone or something like that in the process. And then they may as well escalate and harm you. Okay. And that's what we're trying not to do. The most important thing is to cooperate with the robber. Okay. If he asks for money, give it to him. If he asks for your cards, give it that as well. Your mobile phone, these are all the attractive items that they will go for, and that is what they'll probably be asking for. I would say to you, give them and don't really put up much of a resistance. One of the things that you can do is you can actually put on your tracker, you can turn on the location on your mobile devices. Okay. If you do have a mobile phone, most of them come with a tracker on it. So if you were to activate that, you can probably go back, give that information to the police, and it would give them a grid square or a location where they can actually go have a look for the person that took it. Okay. It says here, give them what they want. Do not put up much of a resistance because it would be the resistance that would provoke them to actually escalate. One of the things that also that we saw with the gentleman that got attacked, I think at some point in time he did reach out to take the stuff back, and that's when he got a few more, I would say he was assaulted further by the robber, right? Any weapon that you perceive that the person has, even if they have their hand in their pocket and they don't take their hand out, yeah, to show you if it's a knife or a gun or anything, just assume that it is real. Yeah, that's the first thing. Okay. It's most important, as I said, to get through this episode, yeah, so that you can actually help the police to find the person at the end. Okay. Do not make any loud noises or sudden movements. Okay, because a sudden movement that will provoke them to react. And in the reacting, they can actually go overboard, basically. Yeah, so we don't really want that. We want to get through. So all stay calm, speak calmly, move calmly, move slowly as well. Do not attempt to follow them. Okay. It could also that by doing that alone could provoke them. However, one of the things that you would be able to give to the police at the end is possibly a direction that they went in, right? And that would be where the police would normally go to look for the person. Okay. If you're on the road or shopping or walking, try your best to be alert. I know it's going to be it will be difficult, especially if you go into crowded areas. Now, we did say to go to crowded areas, and that should help you, stay safe. However, the crowd itself could also hinder your observation, all right, or your alertness. But once you're on the lookout, yeah, you should be able to get us, how should I say, get a feel for what's going on around you. I would also say trust your instincts. All right. If the instincts are wrong, then that's nothing wrong. All right. But if your instincts are correct, yeah, then you could just have averted something yourself. All right. So I would say in this case, trust your instincts. And also make a mental note of the person that would have the suspect of the robber. Okay. Mind you, I will say this. The police are very good at identifying people. As long as they get a decent description, they will be able to find the person. I say that because I've got a little bit of experience from that, working at other locations. In one case, I gave them a general description, which is a height, what the person looked like, hairstyle. I told them what the vehicle they were driving, and the two of them looked at each other and said, "We got an idea who that is," and off they went. Okay, and that was it. Okay, I would say I would trust the police in this one. I think they've got it all covered down very well. And Mr. Cox there, ex-police officer, I'm sure he can share some highlights, some insight on that one.
Mr. Cox, are you there?
and the person you hold, because as Mr. Fields' person is, they are so far apart, he's under stress. Hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
We can hear you now. We missed a little bit of your
Okay,
presentation.
all right.
I don't know if you're on mute, so if you can go back a little bit, thanks.
Okay, I'm sorry, but I've said that I'm glad that Ian spoke about descriptions, because sometimes the descriptions which are given to the police are so far from the person which they hold. Because as Ian said earlier, the police generally have a good idea who the person is. They generally do. But yes, we know that you're under stress, but things like height and the build of the person. It's true that it might call somebody slim, you might think that they're medium built, but these are things which we should be getting right at least. As you see, he's placed some pointers here now. And as I said, these are things you should know, because I have seen people describe people that were not the persons who committed the offense. And it is okay, well and good that you hold the person for that offense. But how it operates now is that lawyers will go to court and they will argue that this description and this person in the court, they are not the same two people. So yes, we would have held the person for you. And anyone knows the jury now, the jury just needs a little doubt and that person goes free. And if they go free, they now feel, hey, no one can touch me. So they're out there again to commit another crime. So we try to get these things which are on the screen now, so that you can give the best description you can. As I said before, I know that it's a stressing situation, but there are few things here you must be able to get right.
Right.
You
I was
want,
actually,
you could go, Ian.
yeah. Okay. I was actually going to say, yeah, for me, being an ex-police officer as well, when we were looking for suspects, yeah, who've just committed a crime, the most important things that we actually wanted to get was a height. Well, we would, in the height, it would come male or female, right? Statistics show that the majority, 99% male, but that's not the case. The height and what they were wearing, and possibly just the top, yeah, because that is the most, I would say, the most visible item that we can get. Even if it's just a plain white t-shirt, okay, then that's what we will look. We'll look for a male of this height, of that, wearing that item. So right now, sometimes judging someone's age, especially when you're under pressure, yeah, or going through this traumatic event like this, you can easily get it wrong. That's why we say average height, okay, and average age, average weight, okay. The clearest one though is distinguishing features. Most everyone now has a tattoo. If you even when they're taking things off of you, if you can actually look for something like that, and I would say, to be honest with you, that is all you would need. Yeah. It says here as well, carrying anything, because normally what would happen is the same clothing, the line above it, they would actually remove an item of clothing, so that even if it was you're looking for someone in a let's say a white shirt, they might actually have in their bag another shirt they can either put on over it or remove that shirt and put it in. But again, if that person is matching the general description and they have a bag, police do have the powers to stop and search. Okay, so that should be a deterrent for them. The other one, if you look to the right, you'll see that it says try to remember the type of vehicle if one is seen. Okay. I did see some examples when I was doing my research for some videos. There was a case where you actually saw from a home CCTV, yeah, or home camera, a car drove past a elderly lady. Yeah, it stopped 100, like say 40 meters past her, right? She was walking down a track. She was actually walking away from the road. You saw someone exit the vehicle, go back to the junction, followed her down, just started to speak to her, and then they robbed her, right? And she again was in, I would say, on a isolated part of the road, okay? And then all the person did was after they got what they wanted, they turned around and walked back to the vehicle. Now, again, she would not have seen the vehicle. She would just have seen him leaving the area. Okay. But again, I didn't use that one because I think that was from last year. Okay. But vehicles are sometimes used for, like, as I say, the quick getaway. Okay. And if you do see a vehicle at any point in time, the color of the vehicle, you may not know the make or model, but as the shape of it, how many doors, and again, what direction they left in. Okay, right now I would say the VRM or the vehicle registration number is not a key factor anymore because people are actually cloning vehicles now as well. But if you did get that, that would be a very good help for the police. Yeah. Anything else, Mr. Cox, you would like to add?
No, with the vehicles, as I said to persons earlier, you look around because that vehicle mostly would have passed you before. I don't know. I consider myself a numbers guy, so I look at numbers and I retain them a certain way. So when the vehicle's passing you, just try to. I know sometimes you don't. You tell yourself, well, this will not happen, but look at the location you are in and the vehicles that are passing. Then you could look at try to remember some of the numbers.
All right. Anything else? Okay, so what we'll do is we'll just continue along. So that is when you're out and about and you are on the street. Basically, try to travel during the daylight hours. Try to avoid isolated areas. Yeah, and if you do happen to meet someone that requires something or wants something from you, do not resist. Just give them comply with what the person is saying. Okay. Any questions? If you have any questions at any point in time, yeah, what I will do is I'll give Miss Griffith the email address and my telephone number. So if you do want to reach out and get some more information, by all means, I'll make myself available for that. Okay. So what we're going on to now is home security as well. During the research that I did find some kind of, and I think it happened mainly last year though, excuse me, some attempts where people actually went to the houses. Now, the reason why I've put this on here as well is recently, I'm sure you would have seen in the news, someone had used what do you call it, a chainsaw to cut the locks off of a door. Okay. That I would never thought would be happening here. Okay, but it has happened. So this is why we also went down the road of actually looking at what you can do as home security. I'm sure that most of you have got the wrought iron inner gates and doors as well. I will say this, if you have them and you're home, it may well be a bit of a bother, but I would still say lock it while you're in the house. Okay. When you go out, yeah, if you have some form of locking it while you're away as well, I would say please do so. Okay, the last thing you would like to happen is that you go out, you come back, and someone is already waiting for you in the house. Mind you, it will just be you and them inside. Right? It's one thing that well, my dad used to say when he was younger, they never locked the windows. They would go to sleep with the windows open. I don't think anyone would do that now. Okay. So further to that, what we're looking at is some kind of fencing. Yeah, it doesn't have to be very expensive. It doesn't have to be very much, but it's a deterrent. What we're looking at now, how to deter people from trying to get to your property and yourself, pretty much. We should be looking at securing the outer doors as well, and some kind of security cameras. Hopefully we get a second chance to come back because we are still doing some good research on, and a lot of research on cameras and devices. Yeah. But what we're looking at is how affordable and how easy you can get these things. Okay. Because to be honest with you, you do need to have some kind of security now at your home. Okay. And what we'll be looking at is how to make it, it's called hard targeting. And it applies to people and property. And basically all it is making it less attractive or giving them much more work to do to get to what they want to get. Okay. We will also be looking at internal doors and again, some devices as well that you can probably get there as well. Okay. Anything you want to add, Mr. Cox?
Just say to persons is that if someone wants to get into your home or get into any property, given enough time, they will eventually get it done. But as it's called hard targeting, you try to make it as difficult as possible. So with time, they will do it. I heard Ian speaking about the fellow that cut off the law. One of the things I saw here in Barbados, people had burglar bars and the car jack came in to be very handy. People jacking open your burglar bar so they can get in your place. So as I said, with time, they will get it done. That's where cameras come in now. Because you can be away from home and still see what's happening at home. So they don't have the time like before. So we will go further along and these details will come up to show you how to make things a little harder for them.
Right. To be quite honest with you, I would say it goes back to the basics. If they are seen, that in itself is a deterrent. Yeah. I've heard people say using cameras, making cameras or having mock or false cameras, but I would say if you're going to get a camera, might as well get one that works. Okay. It is a bit of an investment, but I did have a video here that I do want to try to play at some point in time, but it actually shows you two people trying to get property and they walk past a security camera. Okay. Right now, more and more people are using cameras, which are good because some cameras cover the street. Yeah, they're covering the backyards and stuff like that, and they can see things that you may well miss, right? And again,
Are you there? We're not hearing you. Hi, are you there?
I'm here.
Okay, we weren't hearing the other presentation.
Right, I realized that his feed went low.
Okay,
I think Tamita dropped out too. She's coming back in.
You know, Tamita,
Okay.
actually, he's using Tamita's feed.
Oh,
Okay.
So,
right, okay, we're back in. Yeah. We got to share the
I know you want to show us the video and stuff, but I don't know if at this juncture maybe we can take some questions.
Yes,
I
please.
certainly have some questions. If any of the participants on want to ask a question, please let us know. You can use the raise hand icon. Now, I just want to circle back to what you said earlier about the description, because as you said, that is so important. So we think that we're supposed to say all of these things, but you said if you can focus on a distinguishing mark, maybe a birthmark, a tattoo, those kinds of things. So if you can just walk us through that again, because I think that's very important.
Right.
Somebody's come up to you, snap, somebody's coming to you, they're threatening you, they may have a firearm, they may not, they may have a knife. I mean, what kind of frame of mind should you in? What do you do at this point in time so that you can actually pay attention to be able to give this information when it's all over?
Right. Mr. Cox, you want me to take that one?
I will go. I would advise you not to look in the person's face because that will agitate them. If you do a quick glance, but looking in the person's face will definitely agitate them because they do not want to be identified. That's why you see them wearing the hoodies, you wearing the shades, even at night. But if they have their hands out and you can see anything at all out of the ordinary, that will help big time. Tattoos, yes, we know a lot of people have tattoos, but if you can remember part of that tattoo, that is so important. We don't want you to give full details and like how the brush marks will go and where the ink marks and that kind of thing, but to remember part of that there will help so much. If the person, I don't know, nowadays the young people, some of them still have gold caps and that kind of thing. Those things will help. So
But how
those
does
are not.
that work, Mr. Cox, in a situation where, we all watch crime dramas and stuff. So we're not trying to pretend to be sleuths or anything, but we do watch crime dramas. And, there's situations where a criminal may go somewhere and change their clothing, take off the shirt, those kinds of things. So you're saying, because you'd said, pay attention to the top, what the person may have on. Um, and try not to look them in their face. So I'm still not clear. God forbid this to happen to any of us, and we don't want it to happen to any of us or our family. But if it happens, what should they do? I am walking the street, or I am sitting in my car, or I am somewhere, and I am approached by someone, either in a mask or without a mask, brandishing a weapon or threatening me to take my possessions. Walk me through that. What should I do?
As I have said earlier, do not make that person feel threatened. So, yes, it's true. I will say to you that sometimes you cannot get a good description. We try to get a good description. Me, from the law side of me, yes, a description is wonderful. But do not try to put yourself in a position where you need to get this great description and cause that person to become agitated. Clothing, hey, let us use it. We know that the people nowadays, anyhow, they will have on one shirt at the scene of crime, and before they get 100 meters away, they have changed that shirt, they have changed that pants. So, yes, we try to get a good description, but do not risk yourself, your life, by trying to get that excellent description. For me, it's all right for me to say, yes, get it. But my thing is that, hey, I have been doing it for years, so I could understand it. For me, a quick glance, I could get a good set of information from the person. You not being that type of person, you're not having that training, you will, and that's why I say a lot of times the descriptions are off. But one thing I think that you should be able to get is a height, because from your point of view, you should be able to average that height and the clothing.
Okay. So I
if I
shouldn't
can,
say, oh, taller than me, or what kind of
Right,
specific
right. If you are
information should we get for height?
if you are standing, it's easier because you can gauge height if you are standing. But if you're sitting in a vehicle, it would be a little more difficult, but you can look at your vehicle and say, okay, the body is this much over my vehicle, so roughly this tall. And of course, the complexion should be easier because it's either black, brown skin, or white.
Mhm.
So
Okay,
We
if I
these
have a
can,
things are,
question. We have a question in the chat. Someone asked if they should scream out for attention or to call for help.
that is a double-edged sword,
Hmm.
depending on your location.
Right.
Because if you are in a isolated position, no one is there to come to help you. So screaming will only agitate the attacker. If you are in a location where the there are people around, and I have always said the cry is fire. More people, and we know Bajans will look out for fire more than if you say help, help, help. Because help, help, help is like, hey, son, we saw in the video, help, help, help. You know, people say, I am not getting involved with that. Fire, 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 people looking around to see what is going on. So location depends on if you would do that or if you would scream for help, as I said, for fire, or if you will keep your mouth shut, because it makes no sense crying out for help when there's no one to help you.
Okay. Mr. Fields, you were saying something?
Yes, thank you. What I was saying is everyone focuses on a physical description. Yes, this is going back to descriptions. However, from my personal experience, sometimes they may have other things that would be specific or particular to that person. For example, even if they were to ask you or say, give me your watch, right? They may well speak with a certain type of a dialect or accent that you can actually to let the police know as well, right? And that would be specific or particular to the person. Some people have a specific way of walking, yeah. Some walk with their toes pointed in, yeah. Some walk with like the Huggy Bear type thing. It is not very common right now, but even a small detail as much as that would be able to identify someone, yeah. So it doesn't necessarily mean that you've got to give, like what Mrs. Cox was saying, a full description. I mean, the shape of the nose, if what type of jewelry they might be wearing, an earring or something. I know they might have a mask over their face, right? But you would still be able to see, I would think, with a quick glance, what color the eyes are, or even what shape the eyes are as well. People tend to overlook these small little details. Yeah, but I mean, we have got photographs of almost everyone. And if it was a new person, yeah, as you see, the police normally send out, we're interested in speaking to this person, and they have ways of finding, people who might fit that description. Okay. As to crying help, I would say like what Mr. Cox has said. Brilliant, Mr. Cox, thank you. Right. It depends on your location and who is around you. Right. If you're out, in like say one of the screens that we saw or we might have seen was someone is sitting in a park bench out in the middle of nowhere, I would say comply, give, and and try to get them away from you as soon as possible. In a case like that, crying out for help will not bear fruit. Okay. What I will say is if it were like, for example, in a car park and it was a possibility after, right, that would be one of the things I would consider afterwards, crying out for help then. But during it or just before, as Mr. Cox was saying, I believe that would just antagonize or give them a reason to strike you, right? If nothing else. Okay. In the case of the old gentleman as well, I believe I saw him after the guy took the money. He tried to grab it back, and I think they had a little bit of struggle, and then that's when he was further assaulted. Yeah. The thing is to get through it. It gives you a much better chance of surviving it, to be honest with you, to start with, right? The way how things are going now, people tend to have less, I would say, respect for life. Yeah. Or even, and this is why we're here, even the elderly. Okay. Um, I, I, I don't really know what more to say, but to cry out for help, it depends on your surroundings, and I would say that would be the major thing to look at. If no one is there to help you, as Mr. Cox said, it would be a futile attempt, right? And it could
Okay.
antagonize them.
Okay. Let's go to at home now, burglary. and it was mentioned to use bars or burglar bars. Should you put it at every single window, or how do you determine what is the best place to put up burglar bars? Should you put it in the bathroom? Because you know the bathroom windows are smaller, so they go there. What's your recommendation?
Okay, let me go. I remember seeing a video of a burglar, right? And he actually got through a bathroom window, yeah, and he came out through the wrought iron gate at the front door as well, right? So he was that small he could get through. Okay. I don't believe it's happened here yet, but I know in some countries they actually use children to get through these spaces, go around to the front door and open the front door from the inside. Yeah. I haven't seen any cases of that here yet, but that is a trend in other countries. Yeah. It is very difficult, I would say, in the case of a burglar bar, as Mr. Cox was saying, they can use things to defeat that, but they got to get to that first. So again, lock all windows and doors before you go out. Yeah, and in some cases, I've been looking at how to fortify or to bolster the doors, so that even if you're inside, it makes it that much more difficult for them to open the door. Yeah. In
So what are
most
the best
cases,
locks for you to use? What are the best locks for you to use on your doors? Are there specific kinds of locks that are more safe than others?
on the inside, once you're inside, yes, a deadbolt is very good actually. Um, External, a lot of people like the Yale locks, but those can be kind of defeated. The more expensive locks on the market. Yeah, to be honest, I've only done that for commercial areas, but I believe the name of it, it slips me now, but there is a lock. I will get that information for you and pass it on. Yeah.
All right, we have a hand up. I can't see who the person is, but please go ahead with your comment or question.
Oh yeah.
Go
Think
ahead.
Dale Drayton.
Bill Drayton. Thanks,
Yeah.
Madam President. Mr. Drayton, Miss Drayton.
Mr.
Go ahead,
Drayton.
please. Yes, ma'am. Go
Yes,
ahead.
thank you. Mr. Fields,
Yes, ma'am.
earlier you said something about the location on your cell phone, activating it. I'm not sure exactly what that means. Can you explain that a bit more for me, please?
Yes, of course. There's a feature or a function on the phone that says Find My Phone. Yeah. What you normally do is you pair your phone with another device. Okay. And let's say that device happens to be your laptop or your computer at home. Yeah. You can actually link the phone to that device. Your phone should actually have on it built in a GPS, which would give you either lat or long, or it would be, if it's in case of Google, would actually give you the street map. Okay. This is how some parents do track their kids to and from school. Okay. So in the case that if you were to do that, yeah, obviously for Android, it will be different for Apple device. Yeah, but it is pretty much the same type of a name that is on there on your device. Once you pair it with your other device, let's say your computer at home, yeah, it would give you, there's a bit of a time lag, only a couple of seconds though, and it would give you the location of your device. Yeah. When we were in London, we actually were able to trace certain devices even up to the 6th floor, 10th floor of apartment buildings, and it was pretty accurate. Most of them, I think Apple goes within, I think, a couple of meters, like 5 or 10 meters. I'm not au fait with the Android, but I would suggest that it gives the same kind of how should I say, accuracy as well with
It
the
does.
location. Say
It
again?
does because I remember when it was in the service, we were able to go to houses to recover these things. So the accuracy is very good.
Right. And again, it is a feature. I know in the Apple, it is Find My Device or Find My Phone. Yeah. And all you have to do is switch it on. It asks you to pair it with another device. In this case, it could be a laptop or computer. You can pair it with that, or even what you call it, a tablet. You can even pair it with that. And all it does is every so often it will communicate its location to that, like that parent device that you would have somewhere else. Okay. And once you have that, even if they were to take the phone, you'll be able to go back to the other device and see where your phone is. Okay, and then you can share that information with the police. Actually, if you were to tell the police that, they will probably go straight to your house, get that device, and switch it on to get the location. Yeah. Does that help?
I think it does. Ms. Drayton, does that help?
Thanks
Okay.
very much, Mr. Fields. Are you
You're
hearing
I
me
think
now?
one of the
Yeah, I
problems
can
you
hear
have
you.
with that is that people like they love their privacy.
Mhm.
So they don't want to engage it. They don't want to turn it on. They love their privacy. So that is one of the problems that we have with it. But it is so good in tracking that phone.
Um, what happens afterwards? Because we spoke about what to do during, and we did touch on what to do afterwards. So a situation like this happens, you're in shock. What do? You call 911 or what are the numbers? Just remind us of the process after something like this happens.
Well, the police emergency number is 211. They you
I
can call
said
that.
that because a lot of people do by watching television and knowing that in North America it is 911. A lot of people do not realize that the police emergency number for us is 211. So thank you, Mr. Cox, for reinforcing
and,
that.
and, and you can call it from any phone. It's free of cost.
And you have to have a service. Some people don't have credit on their phone or they
No,
just
no,
wait
you
to use
don't.
Wi-Fi.
You don't have to wait. You can call it from any phone. No, you don't have to. As people say, if the phone is broke, you can still call that number.
All right,
So
Mr.
you call
Cox, if I
the
can just
police. Go ahead, Mr.
No, I was
Fields.
going to say if I can just jump in here, the two other slides I really want you to get before the time expires, before it runs out, and it's to do with the hard targeting, how to make yourself as difficult as possible for anyone to to do you any harm. Okay, so the hard targeting for the home, as someone mentioned, what's good locks? I will get that for you, but a good lock would be a high grade deadbolt or reinforcing lock for the door. Okay, most people will come prepared to defeat the lock on the door, but they may not expect to find a secondary lock on the door, right, which is not visible from the outside. That can defeat them.
And as I would say to you, Mr. Fields, the cheapest lock is the best lock.
Yeah, deadbolt.
A bolt.
Yes, and I would
A
agree.
bolt.
Yeah.
A bolt is you cannot pick a bolt. If you
No.
come out, you bolt your door, you cannot pick a bolt. You have to be inside to open that bolt. So it's the cheapest lock to reinforce the other locks which you have on your door.
Right. But also for the advice I would give you, even if you have a lock, a secondary lock, which most people do have, it should just be a lock. It shouldn't be a lock with a handle or anything like that, because obviously they will try to use as much leverage as they can, right, to open the lock. A second one for hard targeting your home could be using motion sensors, lighting. And to be honest with you, it's just a motion sensor attached to the light. If it picks up any motion, the light comes on. All right, that can deter people. Right, installing security cameras as well. Secure your windows. Trim the landscape. What we mean by that is most of us like our plants and trees and stuff like that. Yeah. However, the closer that vegetation comes to the house means that the closer that person can get to your house unseen. As we said, they don't really like to be seen. Okay. So even if you did have like fruit trees or some of that in the backyard, I would still say it would not go amiss in putting another defense, a barrier, like a fence or something, chicken wire even, between the edge of your trees and your path, your footpath, or even to your back door. Yeah. Reinforce entry points. Again, deadbolts, that would be a good thing. Yeah. It says display security signs. I would say trespassers will be, and you can leave it at that. Okay. Install motion monitoring alarm systems. I would say the cheaper option would be to have what we do have what you call glass breaking the devices. And basically it's a very high sensitive sensor that it's just like a fire alarm or something like that, but it actually just measures the glass itself. And it's a certain frequency. So if someone tried to break the glass, it would register that and it can send off an alarm. In most cases, what we're looking for to see if there's something like that that can be on your phone, right? And oh, it's not picking it up. Here we go. Right. But we do offer a service like that as well. Yeah. But we can get those details to you if you're interested. The other one would be actually control access to your property. Yeah, that is more for if you're in a gated community. Yeah. And also, if there's something called practice lighting discipline when you're away. Basically, what you can do is it's like an alarm that you can attach to a light or a couple of lights in your home, which means if you're out, you can have a little lamp and you can actually program it so it comes on at a certain time and it goes off at a certain time. It actually mimics or would give someone the impression that someone is home and, you know, the lights are coming on, the lights are going off. You may well be out at a restaurant or watching a movie or just visiting friends or family, but at least it appears as though someone is home. And that in itself is a good deterrent because obviously they don't want to be seen or known, right? I did have a video here with this one where it was some visitors, yeah, to the island. They were outside enjoying something on their patio when they got attacked. Okay. And the guys chased them into the room. And when they came back out, they were still there. Okay. Unfortunately, they were on holiday and they thought they could get through the afternoon doing those things. Okay. The other one I really want to get to as well is this one, 10 points to hard target a person or yourself when you're out. I'm not sure if you're seeing this on screen. Yeah. But it's really to maintain a situational awareness. Know where you are. Okay. Where, for example, if you go into a restaurant, I would always tell you face the doors, don't back the door. Make sure that the toilets are also visible in your eyesight, nothing so that anyone who has to passes in front of you, not behind you. Use a confident body language, meaning this is to deter a crime. So again, your confident body language, as Mr. Cox was saying, before the attack, if you just maintain or look in the eyes, eye contact, right? One of the things that we, as I said, through my research, it was that they do not want to be seen. Okay, so as long as they think that you can identify them, then, you know, it will go out. Vary your routes as often as you can. You may well be in a cul-de-sac and there's only one way in or out, but I'm sure at the end of the cul-de-sac, there's a left or right turn. Don't make yourself predictable, okay, when you go out or even when you come back home. Even vary the times that you might do so. Avoid high-risk areas. We did have the hot spots. During daytime, even daytime, I would avoid those areas as much as possible unless you really have to go to those areas, but I will go with someone else, right? Limit the sharing of personal information. Mind you, this is very interesting. Sometimes people actually go on your Facebook, on your Instagram, and they look for and they can find personal habits that you may have. You may go shopping at a certain restaurant or at a certain store over certain weekends, or even during certain festivals. Okay. So again, try to limit that. Dress practically as well. Okay. Obviously, if you're in your, high heel shoes or you look very, that can make you look vulnerable as well. So what we're trying to do is avoid that look that would attract these people to come towards you, right? It says carry a personal safety tool. What they're actually talking about is pepper spray. I'm not too sure if that is available here, right? But again, I've heard some people have already got it, all right? The danger with pepper spray is if you're not aware of how to use it, you can actually suffer the effects of it as well, okay? And I've seen some people like that. They spray it and they didn't realize that the person was upwind. So when they sprayed it, they didn't get the effects. It just blew straight back on them, okay? So they made themselves an even easier target, I guess, right? It says use a buddy system, and that buddy system, I would say, is by far, I use it myself as well. I don't really go many places on my own. And guess what? I'm in security and I'm ex-police and service. But I do try to make myself as hard a target as possible. It says stay in control of your transportation as well. Okay, one of the things that people may not realize, someone knock on the window, they wind down the window or open the door, right? As long as that window is up and the door is shut, it means that that person may, even if they try to take your vehicle, they can't do so. I would also say, even when you're traveling, try to make sure after you start and you're on your journey, lock the door from the inside, okay? And the last one, as I said before, trust your instincts, right? Yeah, instincts are not going to set you too far wrong. If something looks funny, then I will say to you, treat it as such. If you need to avoid it, avoid it. If you need to stop and turn around, stop and go back, okay? Trust your instincts. They will not take you too far wrong. I would say that. And even if they do, yeah, I would say no harm, no foul. Okay. But if you don't trust them and something happens, I think that you would even feel a little bit worse about yourself because you didn't trust. Yeah, and you would always look back at it and says, only if, right? Don't ever get to that point. I would say do what is necessary. Yeah. Anything else?
Someone
Ms.
has
Cross?
suggested, and Tamita, you can share with Barb these slides with these points and these pointers, and we will share them with our members. You can do that at the end of the presentation so that we can share them with the members, or even post them on our website as well. Yeah. Are there any questions? Does anyone have any questions? While we're waiting, I just want you to know that Guardsman is in fact a discount partner with Bar, and they're offering a 10% discount for their services, complimentary responses, alarm monitoring and response, central monitoring, station support, experienced and professional technicians. With the 10% discount, you get 2 months payments, installation, and device. So you can always contact Guardsman and they will be able to give you additional information. They are at 573-7000, 573-7000, and you can contact Guardsman if you want to use their services. And as a valid BART member, meaning that you have a valid BART card, which is up to date, you can get 10% discount off of these prices. So does anyone have any questions? Because Guardsman is giving away a small token of appreciation for those of you who've been here, but not completely giving it away because you have to answer a question. So you get a drawstring bag, a water bottle, pens, and a mouse pad. So the question I'm asking to those who have been listening to the presentation from Mr. Cox and Mr. Fields, earlier they had given a number, the number of firearm-related crimes for the year. Does anybody remember the exact number in the presentation? Firearm-related crimes for the year. I'll give you a clue. It's more than 100. So let's start there.
Dale, there was a response in the chat.
Oh, let me check. Because I'm actually on my phone, so I'm missing some of this stuff. Thanks, Tamita. More than 121, less than 221. That's a good start. You want to try again? Anybody else want to try? $69. Oh, it's not.
Was it 190?
Let me tell you then, it's more than 200. Less than 250. Wide gap, I know. But if the next person who comes as close to the numbers, oh my goodness, who's Paige? Paige, you're one number out. Paige is the closest person. It's 207 firearm-related crimes. Paige, if you can, I don't know, it says Paige. I don't know if you can put your contact information in the chat.
Dale,
And
is that page Brian?
I am not sure. The first name is just Paige. I'm not sure what the last
I
name
only
is.
know one Paige. Paige, is that you?
Paige was paying attention, though. Let me tell you.
That sounds like Paige to me too.
I had 222,
I
214,
do believe that
221.
is Paige. Brian.
Yeah. Paige, thank you so much. You
She's
win
the
a
winner.
drawstring bag, water bottle, pens, and mouse pad. And of course, we're so
Very
happy to
good.
have you with us and as a member of our BART family.
Yes.
So if there are any um last bits of information, Mr. Cox and Mr. Fields, that you do want to leave with us before we go, uh, we have another 5 minutes or so. What are those things that you want to stick into our mind before we leave? Either one of you, Mr. Fields or Mr. Cox.
Hello.
Hi.
Good
Yes, Mr.
afternoon.
Fields. I was
Yes,
just
ma'am.
asking, as we start to wrap up, we have about 4 more minutes
Mhm.
before we wrap up. What is it you want us to leave with? What is it that you want to stay in our minds, critical to protecting ourselves, even if when we're out and about or even when we're in our homes?
Right. The one thing I would say is awareness. Yeah. Awareness and observation. The thing is, as long as you can avoid it, yeah, like just treat it like a risk. If you can avoid it, then there's no harm. Okay, but that's the trick. I would say just being aware, spatially aware, aware of your surroundings, even if you're in public or even at your home. Okay, and I would say try to avoid I should say try to avoid aggravating anything or making it worse, okay, by trying to be brave, yeah, if it does happen. Okay, it sounds like you're capitulating or you're lying down and leaving it, but I would say you've got to look to be safe and get home at the end of the day.
Any last words from Mr. Cox?
And actually, I think that Ian was looking at my notes because I was going to say be aware of your surroundings. And as I was trying to enforce it earlier, your life is worth a lot more than your property.
All right, gentlemen, we want to thank you so much. Of course, our Chief Executive Officer, Mr. Steve Allen, we invite him now to give the closing remarks. Good evening to you all.
Good evening, Dale. Good evening, members. First of all, I would like to say a big thank you to Guardsman for what I think was a very practical, simple information that will go a long way to helping all of us in terms of our security concerns. The information that we shared today, members, was not to instill fear, but was to give you a sense of confidence in terms of having knowledge of how you to protect yourself. And if there's a couple of things that I would like you to take away from here is one, that the knowledge you have gained here today is only of value if you put it into practice. Secondly, continue to look out for your neighbors and yourself because one of the best security areas is you having an eye for your neighbor and your neighbor having an eye for you. And thirdly, I want you to stay engaged with BART. We are here to offer solutions, to offer information to help us all to manage this crisis that we're going through in terms of our security of our surroundings, security of ourselves, security of our homes. And remember our rallying cry, hands off our seniors. Our seniors have done enough for Barbados. They continue to do enough for Barbados, and we want our seniors protected. And Barb has a mission, has a responsibility to do that. And I know Mr. Fees and Tamika, we will welcome you back because I know there's a lot more you wanted to share. I saw the couple more slides that you didn't share. We can put up on our website, but we will welcome you again because this is not a static presentation or static situation. It's revolving, it's moving all the time. So the more information we can share, the better it is for us. So once again, I would like to thank you. I would like to remind our members that you're a partner with us, you're a discount partner. So your services will come at a special price for BART members. That's one of the reasons why you should join BART for those persons on the calls who are not BART members. But we once again thanking you and your team for what has been a very informative and practical presentation. Thank you once again to all members. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being involved. And we look forward again as we continue our educational exercises and sharing with you, our members. Thank you.
Thank you so much, CEO. And yes, this is just the start of other seminars and conversations and practical ways of sharing information with our members so that you, as Mr. Fields and Mr. Cox said, you're vigilant. It is not to teach you how to protect yourself because we don't want you to fight or challenge anyone. As they said, if you are asked or threatened, it is easier to replace a material possession than to replace your life. And you are valuable and valid to us. And we don't want to lose any of our seniors, particularly to the kind of violence that we're witnessing. So thank you again. I just reiterate what our CEO said. Thank you to Guardsman. Thank you to Demeter. Thank you to Mr. Cox, Mr. Fields, and of course, their General Manager of Operations, Mr. Mitchell. And thank you to the BARP team, Judith, Sherilyn, to you, of course, and our President, Marlon Rice Boyne. If you are on this call and you are not a member of BARP, please call our office. Tomorrow we open Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 3 p.m., 538-2277. If you are a member and you need to renew your membership, you can call the office or come to our headquarters. As I said, Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. We don't open on weekends, and you can come and renew your membership, or you can go to our portal, bartmember.com, follow the steps, and you will be able to renew. It's $75 if you're joining for the first time. And if you're renewing under 3 months, meaning that your card expired within the last 3 months, it's $65. And if it's expired longer than 3 months, it's $75. A lot to take in, I know. So call our office tomorrow, 538-2277. Also get some information about our health insurance plan, all the other insurance plans that are available, and all the events that are coming up. If you haven't gotten your tickets for Platinum Soca as yet, I please advise you to do so because the early bird tickets for BART members, those are gone. And the last day to get the $80 early bird tickets is tomorrow, Friday, the 11th. If you're hearing about Platinum Soca for the first time, this is our third year, and this is our second year at the Yacht Club. Doors open at 5, and action starts at 6 o'clock. We have a whole slew of top entertainers in Barbados, particularly Nicholas Branker and the Nicholas Branker Band. They will be coming as well. We have Adrian Clark, who will be performing some spoot, and then we go down into the soca with Blood, Natalie, Red Plastic Bag, a whole set of very exciting performances that we want you to participate in. If you are not a BARP member, unfortunately, you pay $100. So thanks again so much. And look out for our email blast or stay tuned to our social media pages to get information on when we're going to have this session again. Everybody
Okay.
have a great night.
Dale,
And have a
Dale,
wonderful day. Yes.
Dale, before you close off, just want to add to BART members that Guardsman is the exclusive security service provider for BART
That is
Platinum
correct.
Soca. So
Perfect.
we'll be there
We are
out in our
good hands.
numbers, keeping you safe and reiterating
Right.
everything we would have shared with you this evening. So July 26th, 6 p.m., Barbados Yacht Club, the only place to be, BART Platinum Soca. We don't do silver, we don't do gold, we do platinum, and that is
That
why
is correct.
Guardsman is there.
Thank you so much for that, Tammy. So we will see all of you at Platinum Soca. And before we go, can Paige please share her contact information because we want to be able to get that little gift bag to you. We so much appreciate you participating and all the others who gave the numbers too, but we're not as close as Paige. So good night, everybody.
Dale,
Yes, Marlene?
Dale, it is our page, Brian. So as soon as the show finishes, this event finishes, I'll send you Paige's contact.
Okay, good.
Mhm,
Okay.
mhm.
Paige is known to Guardsman and Barb. So
Yes,
she's a
she
good
is.
hand. She's a good hand.
And Dale, for those members who are not as lucky as Paige, we're going to invite them to come out to Bar Platinum Soca because Guardsman will have some giveaways for them. So they may not have won this evening, but July 26th, they may be lucky to.
Nice,
Great.
nice. I like that.
Cute.
Yes.
We look forward to that. So have a great night, everybody. Have a safe and productive day tomorrow. And for the retirees, relax and enjoy yourself and have a fantastic weekend. Bye-bye.
Correct. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for having us.
You're most welcome. Bye-bye.
Thank you.